Caterpillar, the world's largest maker of construction equipment, today posted fourth quarter profit numbers handily beating analyst estimates. The company credits sales in China, Australia, and Latin America for the good news. The report caps coming after a big year of acquisitions for the company, culminating in that $7.6 billion takeover of mining leader BUCYRUS International. Joins us now to talk about all of it is Caterpillar CEO Doug Oberhelman. Doug, great to have you here on Street Smart. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Great to be with you also. Thank you.
You know, we talk about how you guys credit your sales in China among some other countries. I want to talk a little about China. How important is China really to you guys and your future growth?
Well, China today, in terms of our direct sales in China, is still a relatively small part of our total $50 billion business.
How small?
Having said that, indirectly, it would be less than 6-7% of total sales and revenues in total. But it's more important than that because indirectly it's so important for the world on commodity usage right now and driving commodity prices as China and India and other developing countries too, but primarily led by those two, really start to use the world's minerals, the world's supply. So those are the kind of things we supply to, and of course that drives a lot of other areas and things we're doing as well, whether it's iron ore or coal, whatever it may be.
Hey, let me ask you, Doug, your top-line growth is impressing analysts and has been for quite a while. They've been concerned about earnings there, although obviously this quarter is an exception. What do you say to analysts and investors who say, we know you're growing sales, it's a fantastic situation that most companies want to be in, but you have trouble delivering on earnings at the same pace? What are you doing to change that?
Well, if you take 2008, which was our peak year before the recession, $51 billion in sales, $5.66 in earnings. We said for 2011 we're going to be over $50 billion and make $6. The nice thing about that, in the $6 in 2011, it's true operating earnings. In 2008, we had a fairly large tax increment from a decrement, from our inventory liquidation. So year-to-year comparison, same amount of sales, a lot richer earnings. And that's how I would answer that. I'm not looking at quarter to quarter. I'm really tracking year over year going forward.
You know, I'm also noticing, and certainly the Bloomberg write-through, how you guys are working very closely with your suppliers to boost profit. And I'm just curious, what does that mean? Are you putting pressure on them? They've got to take, you know, they're going to take hits in their margins. And who are these suppliers that you're talking about?
Well, we are working hard to develop a supplier collaboration model that's true collaboration. I do not believe that a margin transfer from a supplier to Caterpillar is good for either of us. So what we're doing is sending a lot of our teams out to our suppliers and vice versa, listening to them, opening our books to them, and sharing more with them so they can help us with cost reduction in our supply chain logistics to make sure we get the right parts and pieces on time when we need them in our factory. And that's really what we mean by that.
I have to ask you about hiring, because back in 2009, President Obama said Caterpillar was going to hire if they passed the stimulus bill. Your predecessor said then that that couldn't happen. What does it look like? What's the outlook like now as the president and the administration tries to rally people, big companies especially, to hire more workers?
Well, we've been hiring. We added 19,000 people back in 2010, 7,500 of them in the U.S. We exported $13.5 billion in 2010, up 30% from 2009. A lot of those U.S. jobs went to that export number. We grow to $50 billion plus in 2011. We need more production. We're going to need more workers. We're going to need more engineers. As long as our top line keeps growing, we'll be hiring, and we are today.
Doug, you mentioned jobs. You mentioned exports. We just talked about an hour ago with Commerce Secretary Locke and about the president's plans to double exports by 2014. Do you think, I mean, you're there on the ground, you're dealing with exports, is that overly optimistic, do you think, on the administration's part?
Well, I think it's a great goal, and what we need in this country in a lot of ways is a policy to get there. Support for manufacturers, an appreciation of manufacturing, what we need to do to compete. That gets into education, it gets into tax law, it gets into all kinds of things. And as long as the administration and we as a country decide that's a priority for us, we'll get that job done. We'll make those extra. We're up 30% in 1 year.
We're certainly hearing a lot of talk about that, but do you think the administration is listening? All of a sudden, we're talking about the Obama administration being much more sensitive to businesses. Do you feel that that includes manufacturing as well?
Well, it's going to have to, because jobs and manufacturing are important, and manufacturing can create a lot of jobs. We get a level playing field with almost everybody in the world, we can compete. We've proven that before. But we need help to get that done, and we can't be uncompetitive in not educating our people, in our tax rates that are some of the highest in the world compared to our other manufacturing competitors in Japan and Germany and elsewhere. So we've got some work to do in all those areas, no question about it, but we can do it, and we've done it before. We just need to work on it.
All right, good to know. Hey, Doug, thank you so much. Caterpillar CEO Doug Oberhelman joining us there. You bet.